Say, she say, we say, I say, hearing out them points of views when I see it my way. Yes it goes, yes it knows, maybe so's, probably not, shoulds and coulds, do's and don'ts, your woulds and won'ts is how you rock. Politicians and religions, on your house or are you renting? Is you married, is you single, meta interest when you mingle, turn out to be someone you into, so how long before the bed get wrinkled? Children when they tripping, is it time out or do you whip them? Opinions and decisions, hunches, intuitions, may or may not get it, cause people's experience different. Check the prejudice at the door, speak the line, you give the flow, tell the truth if it's sweet or sour, cause the hour we spittin' that fire.
Woo-wee! How's everybody doing? How everybody doing today? Y'all doing all right today? You know, I had told them that I needed to come on here today because I know I'm supposed to be gone, but you know I've been sneaking. But I did let my family know this time I need to come on here because I had to redo this video. I could not find the video I done on this topic to save my life. All yesterday I've been searching and everything. I went into another computer, another hard drive, searching for it. I couldn't even remember the name of it. I knew it was connection something. There's so many videos that I have done, okay? And I had downloaded from YouTube. So all the videos I've made for the last 3 years are not on YouTube, okay? That would be like 1,000 some videos. So I took the time today to do it over. It took me all day to do this over. I hope you guys appreciate it. I told you guys that I was going to come with the Spittin Fire network connection when we was talking about Don Lemon and the connection of these networks and how they all in cahoots with one another. And I told you I did this video about a year or two ago. And so I still had the images in my pictures in my computer, but I didn't have the video itself, okay? So we're going to get into it. Please get the likes up. I appreciate you guys coming on in. Welcome everyone to Spittin Fire, okay? If I don't say your name, it's because I got to get to it. This is a lengthy video, okay? I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's a lengthy video. And even though I'm live now, I did collab me doing a video and live together. So I'm going to show you a lot of video clippings. Okay, I'm going to show you a lot today because this is something, it's real interesting, okay? It's real interesting. Before I start putting images on here, I want everybody's undivided attention is why I left the screen dark, okay? I wanted everybody's attention on this. So because I'm going to tell you how this is really going to play out because I don't have it organized like I want to because I was rushing because I wanted to get this information to you. But I'm going to tell you about these networks. So I did a video that was taken down. Okay. I did a video that was taken down, you know, about Don Lemon, right? I did that, okay? It's in the thumbnail and everything else. If you don't see it, right, or whatever, I'm going to put it up right now for you, okay? I did. It looked like this, okay? It looked like this, right? And this was the video that was taken down. So they're not going to like probably what it is that I'm going to say, okay? They're not going to, and this is not a hate speech. This is not a homophobic video. This is a video for education. And it's going to shock the hell out of you. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys right now, because actually I did this better than the original video. Okay, I got to give it to myself. I did this better than the original video. Okay, and I thank all of you for emailing me, reminding me, because I was already working on it. Okay. So remember when I did videos about Don Lemon and I said about Kumo and I said something about Don Lemon and I asked a question and I said, is the reason why they let Kumo go, is it because Don Lemon protected? And I put this circle in the corner, right? And I guess YouTube didn't like it, okay? They did not like it. And I said protected with a question mark. Is he protected? okay? Because he's part of the acronym. And y'all know what that acronym is, okay? Is he protected? Because if he was a heterosexual man, he would have been gone, right? If he was a heterosexual man, he would have been gone. Now, I told you guys, and I did a lot of commentary on my channel about R. Kelly and Bill Cosby, right? I did a lot of commentary about R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. And I told you, and people were talking about the media. And they was talking about how the media said, well, it ain't no money in telling his story. It's always the money making him look bad and all this and that. And I told you guys that was a crock of shit, right? Remember that. I told you that was crap. I told you that they got the memo. You don't say anything, okay, that makes them look good. Because they are protected. They going after heterosexual men. Men. Okay? They going after and if any man charged with any rape, every man that they feel getting out of line, they're going to find women that will put a rape claim on them. Okay? This is going to be really good, you guys. I'm going to tell you right now. You know what I mean? So I'm going to tell you right now, it's the previews of what I done and what I spoke on, so you will know exactly where I'm going when I'm showing you these clips. It's a lot of clips that I put together to get you to understand, because if I did it live, it would be all over the place, even worse than what it is now, okay? So I did that, and I talked about Bill Cosby, and then people were saying, we're going to talk about why Bill Cosby is targeted. Why is the prosecutors trying to get a man that was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison, did close to the minimum amount? He's already close to 90. Why are they trying to go to the Supreme Court to get him back locked up when he already served damn near the minimum sentence anyway? And people say, because he was trying to buy NBC. That is correct. And we're going to see the connection today and tonight on Spittin Fire. Okay? You're going to see the connection on Spittin Fire, because I'm telling you, we got to get it going. All right. So as I did this about this, I'm going to show you another symbol. I told you this is what they're aiming for. I told you. This is what they're aiming for. They want to change the stripes of the flag to this. There was a lot of situations that was problematic. And this is not about if you are gay or you're part of the community, this is not a bash to you. This is strictly the truth. Okay? This is strictly the truth. And remember, there was a situation in politics where this was at the embassy, and Trump made a comment and said that this doesn't belong to the embassy. The flag is red, white, and blue, and then the people were upset about it. Okay? People were upset about this, right? And make sure you share this video, because some of the people in the video are not going to like it. Make sure you get the likes up, please. Please make sure you get the likes up, okay? So make sure you share this video, because this is not for homophobic purposes or anything like that. It's just letting you know what it is. All right. So as we talk about that, we're going to talk about who this right here, the parent company of the acronym LGBTQ. Okay. And I told you in a lot of my videos that the LGBTQ and GLAAD was behind the networks. Oh, wait till we get to the networks. Okay, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN. Ooh, you guys are going to love it, okay? So this is the organization that is the dominant. Yes, you have the women liberations movement, and they collided with them to get their way so they can push what they want to push out here in their narrative. It's all about power, money, and getting what we want to get done with it, okay? All right? So let's get into, and then we was talking about this right here, okay? We was talking about this right here. Take this down. And we was talking about down limit with CNN. Now, CNN was supposed to be one of the first networks, a real strong left network that was talking ill about R. Kelly, that's supposed to have seen the sex tape and all this type of stuff, work with Michael Avenatti and all these type of things. And they worked and all the anchors was friends with Gayle King. I showed you images about that in other videos, okay? I definitely did, all right? So I'm just doing a briefing right now. I'm just doing a briefing if you come in because people hadn't seen this, all right? So we're going to take that off of there, right? So now let's get into these people, okay? These are the people, are the powers, right? These are, let me see. Let me get this off of here. This is the power, okay? This is Murdoch, okay? Murdoch owns some of these networks, all right? Matter of fact, no, yeah, this is Murdoch, Rupert Murdoch. He owns Fox News. Okay? He owns Fox News. These are your powers that be. It's not your celebrities. These are who the people, the celebrities work for. These are who your organizations go to. Okay? This man right here, I spoke on him quite a bit. George Soros. These are your powers that be. And there's so many more, but I'm only going to just give you just a couple, just for the sake of time. Okay? Just for the sake of time. They don't have to be part of the Democratic Party. It's all about what they want passed. You give me this, I give you that. Okay? This is what this is about. And these are some of your people, okay? Push these agendas. Oprah does a lot of work with George Soros and things like that. He was the one that gave Kim Fox $2 million for a prosecutor. Cook County prosecutor getting a $2 million donation. You got presidents that don't give that kind of donation from one party or one person, okay? So these are just some of the few. For the sake of time, this is some of the few, okay? Now, here, I'm going to show you a clipping of Investment Group. Now, this little article right here is just for education purposes right here. This is not the meat and potatoes of what I'm going to show you. This is just so you would know and understand where I'm going, so you can have some clarification, okay? Let's take a listen. So I'm going to read this article. Okay, and it's by Axios, okay, and it's by Sarah, okay, Fisher. I'm going to blow it up. Okay. It says, exclusive billionaire bags new media firm, okay, to combat disinformation. Now, this is what I was telling you guys, okay, and I, gave the credit, Sarah Fisher, who's the author of this, right? And it says this: a new public benefit corporation backed by billionaires Reid Hoffman, George Soros, and others launching Tuesday, okay, to fund new media companies in an effort to tackle disinformation. Yeah, okay. So this is the thing that I was talking to you guys about, okay? Why it matters. Good Information, okay, Incorporated aims to fund a scale of businesses that cut through echo chambers with facts-based information as a part of the mission to plans to invest in local news companies, okay? The group will be led by Terrell McGowan, a former Democrat strategist, that word is, who previously ran a progressive nonprofit called Acronym, okay? Acronym invests in a profit companies that build media technology solutions for progressive causes, okay? It ran one of the largest digital campaigns to defeat President Trump in 2020 election, totaling $100 million. One of the companies it invested in, called Shadow, made headlines last year for contributing to a delayed reporting of Iowa caucus results. Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, backed acronym, okay? Hoffman-backed acronym. Details, okay? These are the details. Good Information is launching with multi-million seed investment led by Hoffman and joined by investor Ken and Jen Duda, Insighted, and George Soros, okay? We disclosing our investors because we believe, especially right now in this environment of mistrust, that's transparency is really important, McGowan said. Sure is, okay? But when you control the narrative, what else? Is that, misinformation? Or is that just what you want to put out? Acronym faced a FEC complaint, okay? A federal complaint, that's the acronym for that. Last year that alleged it wasn't transparent enough about carriers backing McGowan originally told Axios that the complaint had been dropped. The group had filed a complaint, Americans for Public Trust, told Axios that the complainant, okay, was still pending. McGowan subsequently told Axios that her lawyers are confident it will be dropped. Okay, Good Information Incorporated will invest in a new business and solution that tackles the disinformation crisis. That could mean funding new and existing companies that boost news from existing news outlet. All right. Although backed and launched by Progressive, McGowan says that the group could make investments in entities across the political spectrum, so as long as their editorial standards support fact-based information. Okay. She points the Bloomberg, a center-right news, okay, founded a opposition to Trumpism as an example, okay, of the type of center-right news outlet it could find. The information crisis we're in is so much bigger than politics, McGowan said. McGowan will sit on the company's 5-person board, which will be announced by the end of the year, and it will include 2 investors appointed members and 3 management appointed members. Okay, Good Information Incorporated will all inquire Courier News from acronym, and it disclosed some of part of the deal. Okay, Courier News is a local news group with a progressive perspective. There are currently over 60 people that work across 8 local newsrooms full time. McGowan says she was recused from acronym negotiations to sell Courier because she's still on the board of acronyms when the purchase was being negotiated. Deal terms aren't being disclosed. Okay, Good Information will inquire acronym, okay, FWIW newsletter, which covers digital political ad spending. Okay, the company's advisory committee insists that nearly 24 political media and tech experts, including former White House Communication Director Dan Pfeiffer, Civic Signal founders Eli Pariser, Check by Ads co-founder Nanadini and Jamie, former Chicago Tribune and Chicago Sun-Times editor Mark Jacob, Accountable Tech co-founder Nicole Gill, and others. Between the lines, in February, Rico reported on a link of material suggesting the group would include a nonprofit arm. McGowan told Axios there is no plan to launch a nonprofit. See, there's no to launch a nonprofit, right? A nonprofit, because when you have a nonprofit is why you see these women organizations and liberation groups, you get away with a lot of things as opposed to it being protected from lawsuits and things like that, okay? For misinformation or defamation of character and all those things. The Recode article said McGowan was looking to raise $65 million in an effort. McGowan did not confirm the number to Axios. The big picture is the latest example of investment by billionaires targeting disinformation. Craig Newmark, the founder of Craigslist, okay? Craig Newmark, the founder of Craigslist, has invested millions to support factual reporting throughout the nonprofit Craig Newmark Philanthropies, okay? Steve Ballmer, former Microsoft CEO, founder of U.S. a Facts, a nonprofit, designed to make accurate data accessible and understandable in 2017. Lorene Powell Jacobs has invested in several journalism organizations, including Axios, throughout the investment group Emerson Collective. What's next? McGowan said that the group goal in the next year is to raise more awareness about media solutions to counter disinformation before it spreads. All right. So now that we read all of that, and I just wanted to give you that information because you're going to see where I'm going with this. You're going to see how every time I do my videos and I tell you the breakdown and the connections, you're going to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, why everything is what it is, even when it pertains to taking down celebrities, okay? Now, if you think that celebrities don't have a play in this or a part in this, you are misunderstood, okay? They have a major part in this because they work for these big organizations, right? They work for these big organizations. Now, let me see. Okay, so now that I told you, let me get into this. Let's get to, let me see. Let me show you this, okay? Let me show you this. This is not the meat and potatoes of it yet. When I get to the network connection, you guys are going to be really shocked. But let me get into this because I'm trying to delete each video as I show you guys, okay? So let's get into this right here. I told you guys that I was talking and I said even though I'm a registered Democrat, I'm not happy with the Democratic Party because of what it is they were doing after I did all this, research and stuff like that and companies and whatever. And remember yesterday I told you guys, it doesn't matter what part that you're from. Behind the scenes, they're all friends. Behind the scenes, they're all friends. They're all rich. They're all friends. They all play golf together, go to each other's kids' weddings, and all these type of things. Remember I said that. And remember I said they're like billionaires that are puppet masters, and the right is Republican, the left is Democrat, and blah, 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 and they go up and down. Remember I told you guys that. And so when they want something, they will support the opposition, okay? When they want something, when they want this particular bill or something passed because it's going to benefit them as billionaires and things like that, they want something, right? So I'm not going to read this article in its entirety, but I am going to read some really key points that I want you to see, okay? And I'm going to blow this up so you guys can see it real good, okay? I think that's too much. Okay. I wanted so you guys can see it real good. Okay, so this is an article by Merle Ginsburg, and it was last year, and it said Rupert Murdoch family members include wife Jerry Hall donate to Dems. Okay, and if you don't know what that means, that is short for Democrat, right? But let's to Joe Biden. Okay, more than one member of Murdoch clan has sent checks to Joe Biden's way. All right, so let's look. So Democrat presidential candidate Joe Biden is getting campaign contributions for some unlikely sources. Okay, James Murdoch, son of the right-wing media mogul Rupert Murdoch, and his wife Catherine Murdoch each contributed $615,000 to Biden Victory Fund in June. All right, and in May, Rupert's own wife, formerly supermodel Jerry Hall, also cut a check for $500 for the Biden camp. All right, so they're donating money to the oppositions, and actually they're they're the right wing, and they're both contributing to the left, right? And why is that? Okay, we're gonna get to that, and we're gonna speculate. All right. So as you see, as I told you, how some of them come off as if we're for this side and we for that side. That's only people like us that does shit like that. That's only people that does shit like that, okay? We the only ones that sit up there and do things like that. We the only ones that sit up there and say, okay, you Republican, you Democrat. They don't have that, okay? Now, here's what I'm going to show you about this right here. Now, when I talked about R. Kelly, I told you about Gerald Griggs, right? And I told you that he was part of New R. Kelly. At the same time, he's supposed to be a civil rights attorney and all this type of thing. So let's listen to what he said about R. Kelly prior to trial, okay? He was right because he was found guilty, but it was rigged. So we're going to get into that. But let's listen on how he was on Court TV Pay attention to the network that he was on.
All right, Gerald, the documentary, how accurate from your perspective was it? And from the people that you represent, what are they saying?
The documentary was quite accurate. It was just the tip of the iceberg. And hearing Mr. Greenberg make these allegations that he can't prove in court just underscore what these survivors and what these family members have been dealing with for decades with Mr. Kelly. His lawyers deflect for him. He deflects. But the evidence is quite clear. Both the state and federal authorities have tons of evidence, not to mention the plane tickets where he flew underage women across state lines for the purpose of sex. So I respectfully disagree with Mr. Greenberg's personification of the facts against Mr. Kelly. And I think in court, he will face an uphill battle. That's one of the reasons why he's not been able to get out on bond the numerous times he's tried.
The allegations here in New York, they're talking about like racketeering. They are alleging that he set up a complete operation, and the thing that motivated him to be this R&B superstar and money was all about getting access to women and underage girls. From your perspective, is that what you believe is going on here? That he kind of set up this entire world? And that was really what was the motivating factor behind all of it?
I believe the facts and the evidence will show that. I believe that there are witnesses and there's documentary evidence that proves exactly what you just said. And I also believe, given that one of his co-defendants has now taken a plea and admitting to silencing witnesses, I think that you will hear from witnesses. You may actually hear from the co-defendant. So I just think that there's an uphill battle for Mr. Kelly. I think there was an organization of enablers as shown by the evidence. And I think that there are many, many other people that should be concerned about the status of this case and their own criminal culpability.
You know, he had a trial years ago and was found not guilty. Do you think the world has changed or the evidence has changed here?
I think the world has changed. I think the evidence has changed. I think the alleged victim in that particular case has decided to cooperate in this particular case, the Chicago case, as well as the Northern District of Illinois case. I believe she's cooperating. So I believe that the deck is stacked against Mr. Kelly. He faces an uphill battle. He faces a plethora of witnesses who are ready to tell the absolute truth, but they also have documents and other evidence. So I just think that it's going to be an interesting trial. I look forward to all the trials, and I look forward to Mr. Kelly spending a prolonged period of time in prison.
Okay, so remember yesterday I showed you where he said they had to change the narrative, right? Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the network, right? I want to make sure of that because I want to make sure you guys understand, okay? He said that they had to change the narrative, okay? Because the simple fact is, once they found out that the girls were of age, right, they had to change the narrative. But remember what I told you. Pay attention to the network that they own, because this here is the network connection, okay? This here is the network connection. And remember, he was the same one that had a watch party. And he's also the same person that is a founder member of the organization Mute R. Kelly. So that's a conflict of interest that he's on that court TV. But wait a minute, before I get into the connection, let me refresh your memory on what I showed you the other day on this one. Now, remember what he said to this one. And then listen to what he's saying here.
Attorney, I want you to talk about the legal hurdles that you had to go through in order to get to the point where we are now.
Well, I mean, we face a gamut of legal hurdles. First and foremost, the first question was whether or not these women were over age. And once it was determined that they were of age when they met him,
when it's determined that they were of age when they met him. Okay, let's listen some more.
Faced a host of issues. And so, like Tim said, 3 years ago when they came in my office, after he called me, I first started to strategize, how can I help? Because legally, there weren't too many options.
Legally, there weren't too many options. He's an attorney. They were of age when they met him. So if they were of age when they met R. Kelly, what the fuck are we here for? Why am I blogging? Why is he incarcerated? Let's move along.
But what we had to do was destroy the narrative that's been surrounding this individual and many cases like this.
We had to destroy the narrative. Destroy the narrative. He did a watch party. He went on Court TV. Remember that, because we ain't gotten to the connection yet. And then he went to Jamal Bryant's church in Atlanta and told you when they were of age when they met him, they had to destroy the narrative.
That these are women that no one cares for, that these are women that no one will fight for. And so we took a outside the box approach, and we started to destroy the narrative. We had to convince men and women across the country to believe what was going on by taking apart the easy predation that's going on right in front.
If they were of age, what do you mean you had to destroy the narrative and change the mindset? What do you mean? What do you mean? But you know what? I'm going to leave that right there. Okay? I'm going to leave that right there. Let's get to this connection. Okay? So this connection is a little lengthy. Okay? Let's get into it. Oh, y'all, it's good. Let's get into it. It's lengthy. Everyone, so I could not find the video. I took a couple days to try to find it. I could not find the video. I looked through all of my old files. There were just so many videos that I have done and that I had even downloaded from YouTube from 2018, 2019, and even 2020. And it was just so much. And I couldn't even remember the exact title of the video. So I decided to do a replica of that video that I have made, okay? And this is about all of the networks and the connections to the networks and the people who worked with these networks and things of that nature. And I'm just only going to limit it to about 2 or 3 people. I'm not going to go into who all knows what, because they're all connected, especially if they're in the limelight or in Hollywood or even Black Hollywood, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of those logos. And with those logos, I'm going to connect what connections they are and how are they affiliated with each other, and we can understand why the media is all one-sided. Let's take a look. Okay, so this name, George Soros, okay, you heard me mention him a lot of times when I talked about Kim Fox, who's behind her and her agendas and things like that, especially a very advocate of the LGBT, okay, very strong left, very strong liberal, okay, and I told you that he was kicked out of Hungary for his political views and things like that, and they didn't care about how much money he had. They definitely basically kicked him out the country. When he came up here, he spread his money around to get all the things that he wanted to get passed in the media, not only in the media, but in politics and his agenda and philanthropy and all these type of things. He is a lot in a big major role behind, just one of them, behind all these networks and investments. Okay, so we seen what happened in the news within the last week or so with Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon. And we know that Chris Cuomo was let go from CNN for helping his brother. But then we know that there was a trial, a high-profile trial with Justice Smollett, who testified that Don Lemon gave him the tip that the police did not believe his story about him being attacked, okay? And that all played out last week and everything. And so Don Lemon was under scrutiny from the public because they was calling CNN to wanting him to be fired because they felt like if Chris Cuomo can be fired for helping his brother, then there is no reason why Don Lemon should not be fired for helping, Justice Smollett, as he testified to that under oath in court. Now, CNN has not released anything saying that they were going to let go of Don Lemon, okay? As a matter of fact, there were many saying that he didn't do anything wrong and other things like that. But I did a video last week, several videos. One of them was taken down, and I did a video called Protected. And was he protected by the LGBTQ? And I've often did a lot of commentary about the LGBTQ having a lot of pull when it comes to these networks. And this is why they are all in cahoots and in sync or whatever. Especially with another high profile case with R. Kelly. And why no one will, speak in his defense or even give him fair coverage when it pertains to his allegations, okay? As opposed to how they did with Jussie Smollett. With Jussie Smollett, you see that the news media is trying to be more fair, more balanced, and give him the benefit of the doubt. But that wasn't the case with Bill Cosby or R. Kelly. And many people say it's because of the women liberations movement, as far as Me Too, Time's Up, Emily's List, okay, and many other ones, okay, Black Lives Matter. And so we know that there are cahoots with these networks, okay, and including R. Kelly, okay. But that being said, when it comes to Jussie Smollett, he's getting the benefit of the doubt. And a lot of people are not really keen on that. But because he was found guilty on 5 of the 6 counts or whatever, we find it to be interesting that they would not let go of Don Lemon, okay? Or would not. But Don Lemon seemed to not be worried about it because the simple fact is he felt like he did anything wrong, and he just said that he does not support Jussie Smollett anymore, okay? And I often did commentary about the community, okay, the LGBT community, how they, really take up for each other. But now, since he outed him under oath, that has not been issued. But let's focus back on CNN. Now, as we talk about CNN, let's get to that part and the connections of the network, okay? Okay, so let's get into the networks and the logos. We're going to just stay away from the celebrities right now because we know who works for what network, okay? And what shows are on what network. So CNN, with all the controversy that we've seen going on with them with their major anchors, okay? They are owned by Turner Broadcast, okay? Turner Broadcast, as you've seen the logo right up here in your left, upper left, it's the owner of Turner. But who owns Turner? Time Warner, okay? And if you don't know who Time Warner is, it's one of the branch off companies of Warner Brothers, okay? Like with the cartoons, Bugs Bunny, and all those things back in the day, right? So these are the major media companies that own these networks that we see. But they're not the parent organization, okay? These are the ones who actually owns it all, okay? And it's the ones we see every day, talk on the phone with, AT&T. AT&T owns Time Warner, which owns Turner Broadcast, which owns primarily CNN, okay? That is the parent company, right? So we're going to be going to all of these different networks as I talk to you guys about it. And you will see why every time there is a media, why the narratives can be swayed, okay? Why the narratives can be swayed, all right? So as I take the time to go through this, let's move on to the next network, okay? Let's go to Fox News, right? So Fox News is one of the rivals of CNN, okay? One of the rivals of CNN, as one is the left, which is mostly the Democratic Party that has more liberal views, but Fox News is more right. They have more political views, but they do own and hire people that's on the left. Like celebrities, okay? And branch off with culture, which is Fox Soul. So that's more like the black version which caters to black audience, okay? More of a black audience and things like that. And they try to make it not as educational, right? With the feminist movement, and they let them have that. But then, who is the parent company? Fox. Fox is the parent company of Fox News, Fox Soul, Fox, everything else, Fox 2, all that kind of things. And it's a given, right? Because you see the word Fox, or whatever. Now, Fox News has been one of the companies that's rival, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, that is a rival of CNN, right? But you got to understand something. They don't have the majority of the company, okay? Even though there are major companies that own it. And there are shareholders. Shareholders are none other than Vanguard, okay? So now that we know that Vanguard is a shareholder of Fox News, but then we have to understand something. It's also a shareholder of other organizations, right? And you'll be thinking, well, isn't that a conflict of interest? Well, that's exactly what I'm telling you, because they are shareholders of CNN, right? And they hold the majority of the shares. Now, let's move on to CBS. Now, CBS is a major network, okay? This is the one where R. Kelly got caught up, the CEO with the Time's Up and everything, and they hired controversial Gayle King, right? But CBS is owned by Viacom, okay? Viacom is owned by owns CBS. And this is the one with Nick Cannon had an issue with, right? But who owns Viacom? National Amusements, okay? National Amusement owns Viacom, which owns CBS. So actually, National Amusement owns CBS, which Les Moonves was the former CEO that got caught up in the Time's Up scandal and was removed, okay? And who is a part of the Time's Up? The Democratic Party, which was Democratic nominee Kamala Harris, now Vice President of the United States of America. So we see where the scandal is going, because if we get rid of him, we can control the narrative of what we want CBS to say out of here. And who else is a strong left? None other than Gayle King. But who is the major shareholder? The shareholder who owns the majority of the shares of these companies? Vanguard again, right? So you thinking they're rivals, but they're all owned by Vanguard. So let's move on to ABC. Okay, so ABC is not as controversial as we hear as NBC, CBS, Fox News, and CNN. But they do have their share, and they is still a strong network. Matter of fact, they're very strong, because who flat out owns them? Warner Media, right? Warner Media, who also owns Turner Broadcast, as I mentioned earlier in another network, right? When I was talking about CNN, okay? So you thinking like all these companies own each other and in a connection. And this is what I was telling you guys when I was breaking down the Jussie Smollett, okay? And how R. Kelly was able to be muted, and everybody is saying the same thing. Nobody is breaking the barrier. Now, who owns Warner Media? Oh, we know AT&T. We talk on these phones and have these contracts with these companies all the time, only to be able to, for them to sway narratives and news and have the majority of the stake for information. Now, as I'm going to show you, I don't know if I'm going to show you before this or after this, but there's an article that I'm going to read about those who are behind it. And I mentioned George Soros and how all these big billionaires has a lot of stake in media, because if you can control the narrative and you control scrutiny, that's where the power is. And this is why they was getting at other celebrities. But who got a majority shares of ABC again in AT&T and Warner Brother? Vanguard. Okay. Now you thinking all these are rivals, but they got, oh yes. Okay. And I know what you guys thinking, like what? Okay, so pay attention now. Pay attention. Now we at NBC. Now, NBC been around for a long time. We know that Bill Cosby was caught up in some scandals, right? And it was people were saying that he was trying to own NBC, right? And that was an issue, because the nigga can't own it. That's where the power is, right? Controlling the medium. Who owns NBC? Comcast. As you can see, they have the same logo, the rainbow logo. Now, don't get it twisted. You thinking, oh, that's always been NBC. Yes. But it being a part of that acronym has always been around. And we don't know what they putting in our face, because we only see the sitcoms we want to see. Pay attention to the logos, all right? But who owns Comcast, again, AT&T, right? So they don't want no black man to have the power. They give you money, but they're not going to give you the power. And this is why they still trying to go to the Supreme Court, okay, with Bill Cosby, because no Negro can have that much power, right? So this is why they mad. But let's move on. Talk about some major cable networks. Oh, it doesn't stop with just the mainstream, but we're going to go with cable networks because major cable networks is part of mainstream now. And they had inserted themselves in the 1980s, okay, where we had HBO and everybody was separate, but now everybody merged together as a package. You understand? Yes, for money, stake, power holders. Who owns HBO? Warner Media. Okay, so Warner Media also owns ABC and some others that I just mentioned. And we just said who owns Warner Media. And I'm going to keep dwelling this in your head, and hopefully you will get it without me having to say it. AT&T. And we also know that Vanguard has a lot of stake in these news medias, right? But let's move along to the supposed to be Black Entertainment Network. Let's move along to BET. BET has been around for a long time, right? And people want you to think that it's black entertainment television, but it's not owned by black people. I mean, we had some issues a few years ago where even Jay-Z had mentioned that BET is not owned by black people. And only people with money can actually say some of those things, all right? The money is in the power of the stakeholders and the owners, parent organizations. Who owns BET? Viacom. The same company that owns CBS, where Gayle King works at, okay? And we also said, well, who owns Viacom? We know that Viacom had some issues with Nick Cannon with making some anti-Semitic remarks, right, last year. Well, none other than National Amusement, okay? None other than National Amusement. So you see how all these chains and networks work together. This is how they was able to mute R. Kelly. This is how they able to spin the narrative with Bill Cosby and everything else. Everyone got the memo. But TMZ, now you think TMZ is gossip and all this net. Well, there's some truth in gossip. You remember, they were the first ones who got the call about Kobe Bryant. And that is still questioned, okay? But who owns TMZ? You'd be surprised who owns TMZ. Yep, that's right. Fox owns TMZ, okay? And we know that, okay? But who owns and who has stake in that? We already know Vanguard. That's right. Vanguard has a stake in all of the media, which controls the narrative. If you can control the narrative, you can control the program, you can control the people in the world. This is why I tell you, never believe the media. Now we moving on to Court TV, which is owned by Turner, okay, broadcasting. And I mentioned that way before I even started the network, okay? And that is owned by Warner Media, which we know is owned by AT&T, okay? And then we know that there is some stake, okay? Some shareholders. All right, Vanguard, that's right. But then the people that took down R. Kelly worked for Lifetime. Remember, Surviving R. Kelly was on Lifetime, right? And these are organizations that work with these women liberations movement. They didn't actually just go to the network, but they actually went to these parent organizations that got them, okay? And this is where the power is. A&E owns Lifetime, okay? But who owns A&E? Disney. That's right. And who has a stake in Disney? Vanguard. That's right. So let me go back live with you guys and let's get this going. All right. So I hope you seen the connection, right? I hope you understood the importance of these organizations. But it doesn't stop there, okay? It doesn't stop there, because I want to put something on you right quick, okay, before I continue, because this gets deep, okay? I know it's real deep. I know it's real deep. Your girl do her thing over here. Your girl do her thing over here, okay? Because I know what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm saying? I understand this. Understand this now, because I don't want to sit up there. I am not an R. Kelly blogger. I am not this. I am a real blogger. So let's get into this, right? So let me show you these two people, okay? So I showed you how this is the major stake in what it is that gets put out here, okay, in the media, right? And I showed you the networks that they own and everything. But there's one more that owns a lot of it too. That's number 2. And it's called, let me see, it's called this one right here, right? It's called BlackRock, okay? So these are your top 2 on the network connections into which you watch in the media that you see. So some of the channels that be rivals with each other, they owned by the same people who have the majority of the shares in those corporations. And that's Vanguard and BlackRock. Remember when I told you and I did a video and I said why nobody is speaking up for R. Kelly? Not why everybody would not say nothing negative about R. Kelly. No major news network, no major, even your blogs are owned by major networks that owned by these parent organizations and stakeholders. And this is why none of them will say anything good about R. Kelly or Bill Cosby. All right. But we're going to get to why they getting fair with Justice Smollett. You just stay right there. Don't you go nowhere. We ain't finished. We is not finished. All right. So as I just mentioned, I'm taking this down. Okay. So remember Vanguard and BlackRock, your top 2 shareholders of all your news organizations and media. Okay. Because they want to control the narrative. See, it ain't about black men being rich. They'll give you money, but you can't have power. Power is where it's at. This is why they have the power to change, and they organize and they throw money at the government. Why would a prosecutor try to go at a 90-year-old man who served 3 years in prison already? Why? Why would he try to do that? Because of the powers that be. They want him dead, okay? He's so mad they want him dead, and they some evil ass people, right? These some evil sons of bitches, okay? They get what they want because they own the world. And remember I told you, okay, they give people nations. These the one that control who goes in the White House and who don't go in the White House. And remember I told you, take the powers away from the powers that be. And I showed you your billionaires. And I showed you how to sit up there and we got to build up Black America. And it's not a black or white thing, but we got to have a stake in this shit. Oh, yes, we do. This is why we don't have no respect. All right. So now I showed you, let me see. I taught you about that or whatever. I did the connections. All right. Let me remove that. I did the connection. Okay. So now I'm going to show you this, right? I'm going to show you this. And I told you about the LGBT and who owns the LGBT. Let me show you. Let me show you her right quick, right? Because I only had so many slots, all right? Only had so many slots. This woman right here is really powerful, very powerful. She's about just as powerful as the billionaires into which I showed you. She is the CEO of GLAAD, okay? And pushing the narratives of the LGBT. She's very powerful. Don't let her looks fool you, okay? She's very powerful. She's the one who pushing this flag right here, okay? She's pushing this, right? She's pushing this. You got to believe me. And see, and because she is very powerful, why do you think, and I'm going to connect this with the networks now, why do you think he is protected? Remember when I said something about Jussie Smollett implicated Don Lemon as his tipster about the police. Well, remember when I told you Black Lives Matter, Melina Abdullah still says she supports Jussie Smollett? Well, these organizations, Black Lives Matter, they have strong, people that own them are part of the LGBT. There are some lesbian women that owns Black Lives Matter. There are some lesbian women that owns Emily's List. There are some lesbian women that owns Time's Up. There are some lesbian women that is in all these feminine organizations, okay? And this is why they down with taking down heterosexual men. You understand? The most powerful, the most well-known heterosexual men, okay? Who other than R. Kelly? They were trying to go for Dr. Dre, but Dr. Dre has a lot of money, okay? And it will be hard in hell. They want something easy. They want you to be weakened. And because Bill Cosby is up in age, they felt that all of what he would go through would kill him, right? But so they was trying to, but they couldn't. So let's sit up there and take this down. She's real powerful now. And she is the CEO. Let me see. Let me look for it. I show that. I'm trying to get rid of all of what I did. Okay. I showed you guys. Let me see. Give me just a second. Okay. Okay. So she is, let me see. I can just put it back up here. It don't matter. Okay. So this is what she's the CEO of, GLAAD. She's the CEO of GLAAD, which is, you know, the parent to the LGBTQ community, okay? She's the CEO. She's a lesbian woman, got a family and everything else. Every time she talks, she has something to say about heterosexual men, especially if they have a lot of women. She hates Hugh Hefner. She hates Hugh Hefner. And I'm sure she hates R. Kelly. I'm sure of it, right? And she partnered with these women liberation, these Time's Up, Mute R. Kelly, Emily's List, Me Too movement. She partners with all of them, okay? But she's the major one. So you got these feminine movements, but she's the major one. Okay. And you wonder, and this is why I told women not to sit up there and go against your men. You got sons, also, don't you fall for that. All your men are not rapists. Okay. Hold women accountable for some of the things that they do. So let me take this down, remove this. Okay. And now let me take down, I'm trying to take down what I've already showed you guys. So that way I won't show you things over and over again. Okay. I'm trying to, so that way, because then I know when it's time to, I did that. Okay, so let me take away that. So she is real powerful. Now I'm going to show you another clipping, okay, of her. She is powerful. She's down with the big boys. Trust me. Very powerful. Very powerful. And this is why. Let me put this clipping. Let me put her low. Let me put her real low in the corner. And let me show you this. Let's get it going. These are the partner organizations that is partnered with GLAAD. And I should have showed you by now, as you see this video of the CEO of GLAAD, and that's Sarah K. Ellis. And these are organizations that partner with GLAAD. Okay, so let's take listen. Okay, let's take a look. We don't have to really read it. We're just going to take a look, okay? We got Wells Fargo, okay? And we got Bud Light, NBC Universal, okay? That's NBC. We have... See, you see what I'm talking about? We see NBC right there, okay? Pay attention to the little... Pay attention to the logos on here. Pay attention, because we just did the connection. We just did the network connection. Pay attention. Walt Disney. We have Time Warner, okay? We have AT&T, okay? We have Comcast, all right? We have some of these major ones, okay? IBM, Delta. We have some other stuff, right? That partner. We have Fox Group, okay? Remember when I sit up there and told you that the LGBT is partner and owns damn near the media, Goldman Sachs. We have all these CNN, okay, patrons. Okay, we have all of these people. Everybody that I damn near showed you, if not partners with GLAAD. Okay, and this is the GLAAD Media Awards. As you can see, this is why you seeing so much LGBT stuff in the media and on these shows that's on the networks who support this organization. This is a very powerful organization, and this is probably why Don Lemon will not be removed from CNN, and they're going to wait till it blow over. All right, because I hope you guys understand that I put this out 3 years ago, but I'm going to say that live and not in this video. Let's keep it going. All right, so as you sing, okay, as you sing, right, a lot of those in that list, if you go to the GLAAD Media Awards, that patron list, you have a lot of these big media organizations and these parent organizations that support them. This is why R. Kelly couldn't get a fair media coverage. Bill Cosby couldn't get fair media coverage. This is why. When I told you, they got the memo. This is why I told people it doesn't matter if you protest outside of the jails. It doesn't matter if you go to New York. It doesn't matter if you go to Chicago. You need to go to Washington. And if you protest anything, you need to protest the media. You need to go to AT&T headquarters, Viacom, CNN, Warner Bros. You need to go to the headquarters. You need to know where and what is your target. You can't act as a fan. Okay? This is why, and they protect their own. This is why Jesse is getting balanced coverage. There are media coverages and putting out statements. Well, I support Jesse. You know, I think that, you know, he don't have to do no jail time. He's already embarrassed enough. You didn't say that with R. Kelly. Bill Cosby, you didn't say, well, you know, he was found not guilty. You know, these aren't even the same people that they didn't even make police reports or nothing like that. And no, they heterosexual, they go to jail. If they white, we want your money, it's time's up. But him, tipping off Jesse Smollett, he had charges of his own, all that vanished, went away. It didn't matter what network, even to his rivals. Even in his rivals, it went away. Because if you cool with the powers that be, it happens that way. It doesn't matter if it's CNN or Fox News. Vanguard. You understand what I'm saying? Because AT&T own a lot of it. Disney own a lot of it. These are the parent organizations. Vanguard holds a lot of stake in those organizations. Vanguard and BlackRock. If they want your ass to be negative, that's what you will be. Even they own some black networks, even podcasts. I ain't even get to that part. That was so much, I ain't even get to it. This is the short version of what it is that I really investigated and researched. But it was enough for me to get what I want to get out of here. This is why I said, is he protected? But it won't be until the men raise up. And right now, because money is so thick, George Soros threw out a lot of money, Vanguard, all these big parent organizations bagging these women liberation movements. Not even a white man has this kind of power. Not even him. And this is why Chris Cuomo and Andrew Cuomo was kicked out of office and fired. They had so much power that if you support your brother, we'll get rid of your ass too. We'll put charges on you too. And no one will question it. This is how much power they have. If you want change, you got to make the powers that be uncomfortable. They are not going to sit up there and care about black men unarmed. Why is anybody lesbian on Black Lives Matter? They own all of us. Every organization that's supposed to be for a different type of people, they own it. They own it. They call it ownership. I don't even own a Black Lives Matter sign. Not that I'm anti-LGBT, but my take is this. If it's Black Lives Matter, why is LGBT in your mission statement? Why is all that in there? If it's supposed to be for Black Lives Matter, I want it to be for black people or whatever, for the culture. It shouldn't have nothing to do with your LGBT or glad or you a lesbian or gay. It should have nothing to do with that. But if you find these women liberation movement, it's always LGBT agenda in it. They own, I ain't never seen so many organizations pops up in all my day. We had like 5 major organizations within 5 years. This is crazy. Major. Got millions of dollars bagging them. And people often say to us, we can help R. Kelly. We can't do nothing. We have no money. We raise no money. We can't do nothing. These are serious money here. We have the power in quantity, but nobody support and believe in it. This is what I was trying to explain to you when I told you about Time's Up. If you ain't got no money, we can't do nothing. All we can do is inform you, like I'm doing now. Just give you information. But there's nothing we can do about R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, anything else, only to get the information out. And hopefully, it get to the right person. And hopefully, they hear and see what's going on. This world is big for everyone. But nobody needs to dominate something else. No one, my black men need not to go to jail because some woman can just say he raped her. And then you notice something. Every time somebody did something bad, right? So hypothetical. Let me give y'all this scenario. If you're a heterosexual man and you rich, and a woman said you sexually assaulted her or you was inappropriate with her, you notice how so many other women will come after? Nobody says anything prior. It take one woman, and the narrative that they will go with that is that they were afraid. But nobody had no issues. But you notice that when one woman come, a slew of women come behind them. You guys don't find that funny or interesting? So you mean to tell me every time a man was inappropriate with a woman, whether he hit her on her butt or rubbed up against her breast, you mean to tell me he just automatically a predator? He just couldn't make a bad decision at that one day with that one woman. He just automatically was a serial rapist or a serial predator. If he did it with you, he did it many times. You don't notice that? Like, but with Don Lemon, it was one man accused him, and you ain't see no slew of men come behind it. You did not see nobody else come behind it. But if he was heterosexual and it was a woman, it'd be 50 other women that's coming forward too. Think about that. Think about that. Think about every time, and I'm not saying that they right or wrong, because men and women do things that they shouldn't do. But that don't mean they have a history of doing it. That don't mean that, though. That's just not realistic. If I just sit up there and be like, oh, I like him, I'm going to flirt with him hard. And I may have just went beyond went a little too far. And he might have been like, no, I'm faithful to my woman. Like, no, or I'm not interested. And I just start rubbing on him, his back and shoulders and that. Now all of a sudden, 20 other men say I did it. Well, hell, I ain't interested in 20 other men. I was just interested and attracted to this one. You get what I'm saying? Or if they think money is going to be had, everybody who you courted going to say you did that. I just find it interesting. And then the first thing that we say is this whole cliche, all of them can't be lying. Well, goddamn, where were all they at all this time? What, it take one person and then a whole army come? And now we say all of them can't be lying instead of looking at it like this. And I'm always the person that tell you guys, never think at the surface level. And that means look at things in a different perspective. When we hear these stories, the first thing people say is all of them can't be lying. So that's the major cliche that everybody run with, right? Even with Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, or Cuba Gooding Jr. and everything else. But look at it like this. Why is now all of a sudden all y'all saying something? Even with Tiny and T.I., why is all of a sudden now? Why y'all didn't have the courage before? With all these other people that had the courage to come forward, with all these other claims that we've seen within every year, a major celebrity getting charged with something, with the Me Too Time's Up movement been out for 3 or 4 years now, why is it that you didn't come forward? Oh, I was scared. You know, but you only come forward when you think a check is going to be cut. Because they passed that law that you can sue your abuser now. When a check can be cut, now all of a sudden people got the courage to come forward. But you scared any other time. But when you think one person finna get a check, oh no, they got to get some of that. We got to get some of that. So when they couldn't get all of Bill Cosby money, they changed the law. They changed the law. So I'm just telling you, they own stake in that. They own it. And the heterosexual men that are rich, you guys better caucus. You guys better have a meeting. You guys better have a secret meeting. White boy millionaires, y'all better have it. Y'all losing y'all power. You losing your majority. You losing your privilege. These women are taking you down. You better have it. You better caucus. You better have these meetings. All your white billionaire friends and families, hey, we under attack. I keep telling you. It's not just black men, it's white men. You're under attack. You got just a black woman telling you. And what party supported? The left. But the party that try to keep things tradition is not moving in the right direction, and that's the right. The right is too out of touch, too old-fashioned, is not strategizing on how to sway their narrative and their points. So the left is getting all this done. And they changed it. And before Barack got out of office, he signed that bill that propaganda can be used. And that's how they coming at Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. That's why people are going to the media first before going to the police. Because if they rich, we taint and destroy their image, their legacy. Because people will believe us because it's believe women. And it shouldn't be believe women. It should never be believe women or men. It should be believe the truth. And you got people that say it's her truth or it's his truth. No, that's bullshit. It's the truth or a lie. When people say that's my truth, it's something within them in their life that doesn't involve no one else. That's when it's your truth. It can't be your truth when it involves someone else because they have a story to tell too. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I say I'm living in my truth, that's me by myself or what I say my life entailed. It doesn't have no say or involvement or anyone else involvement in it. But if I have a circumstance that happened and it involves another person, I can't just say it's my truth because they have a voice as well. It doesn't make sense, people. So I'm going to need you guys out there to not be surface level thinkers and stop saying that it's her truth. It's the truth and it's a lie. Simple as that. That only goes for you within you only. Within you only. I am sick and tired of people saying that. About, oh, it's her truth. Well, she's just telling her truth. What? How can her truth be involved in another person as if that person don't have a voice? This is how they silencing you, men. You have a voice. And this is why we investigate. This is why the police should investigate. But they don't want the police to investigate because they have no proof of nothing. Because they don't want to be accountable for anything, and men or women. They want the easy route. They really don't want the men to go to jail. They want the money. But if he got to go to jail, oh well. That is the purpose. That is the purpose of what's going on. And we've seen it happening. And we've seen it happening. You understand? Because when we seen it happening with the golfer, Tiger Woods, in early 2000 with all the women coming forward. He had to pay them. Why would he have to pay them when they agreed to have an affair with him? You grown. I never understood that concept. Why he manipulated me? How he manipulated you? You had a choice. You have a choice. And I hear all the time. He manipulated. He this. You're taking accountability away from people. You have choices to make. And if the choices you make are not good or was wrong, you have to suffer the consequences for them. And know what not to do again. But I am tired of men. I'm not going to say my black men. Men having to go through all these court and legal procedures because we got this narrative say believe women because it's her truth. It's her truth. When he said, I didn't do that, she was willing. She wanted it. It was consensual. No, what you're saying doesn't matter because it's about her truth. But this is my truth. No. Your truth don't matter. We just go listen to what she said. But I never even, or what about, I never even slept with her. It don't matter. She said you did. But I don't know her, so what? She said you did, and she said you raped her and you going to jail. That's what it's looking like. That's what it's looking like. And those who are part of the community, the acronym, the rainbow, seem to be protected. Heterosexual men, you are under attack. You are under attack. And all of you who know celebrity people, all of you who know rich people, you need to get them together. I just showed you this network. You need to get them together. You need to form a march. You need to do something. Because you may not be as rich as the powers that be of what I showed you in these videos. But you damn sure can get them MFs up off you. I do not like that everybody that we see that's famous or that's rich, now all of a sudden you are a predator. No, I don't. And then we are so brainwashed with it. This is why I said about the media, what they put out here on TV and in our programs. This is why I stopped watching SVU so much, because they were one-sided. And that was the woman. And every now and again, they'll show a man falsely accused, but nowhere near. They trying to make it seem like just women are always right. When in fact, some of the time, they get mad because they made the choice. And now they want to change the narrative, as we see or seen in a video Gerald Gregg said. The women were of age. Then if that was the case, that it wasn't nothing else to be said about that. There was nothing else to be said. There was nothing else to be said when he said, when we discovered that when the women met him, they were of age. Then why are we having this issue? It's nothing else to be said, people. It's nothing else to be said. That's why when I look at that video he said on that church stand, I'm like, wow. We had to change it. Wait a minute, hold up. Because see, let me tell you something about the truth. Let me tell you guys something about the truth. The truth don't have to be changed. Can I get an amen? The truth don't have to be changed. It stands alone. So when he said we had to go back to the drawing board, when you got to do all that, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. It's the truth and a lie. Period. That's not the truth when you got to change it. When you got to stop somebody from making a living, like Mute R. Kelly went around, stopped R. Kelly venues, went around to different city council to stop him from working in that city. We believe the girls, but they weren't girls. Because you heard 1/4 of the Mute R. Kelly man, which is Gerald Gregg, say the women were of age. So why did you stop this man from making a living prematurely? And why is this? But then we read transcripts. And the transcripts with the government met with these people so they all can say the same line. And surface level thinkers of the jury fell for it. Because for one, they weak. People are weak today. They're weak. They're emotional. They don't get down with the truth anymore. There is no way that the government can coerce all these people and those people listen and heard that. And because of the narrative that was put out with R. Kelly so thick around the media, nobody gonna sit up there and let that man go and knowing that they were the jury. They were on the jury. Nobody's gonna do that and have to go back to their neighborhood. I'm just keeping it real. There is not no such thing as her truth or his truth. It's the truth. Don Lemon, you got to ask yourself after you seen the network connection tonight, is he protected? You seen Glass CEO. You seen all of the people that were supported by it. And what was a lot of those corporations? Networks. They can control your mind and what you think and what you believe because we control the narrative. This is why they understood that. They understood the power. This is why they trying to get Bill Cosby. Own your networks. Be stakeholders in these networks, Black America. We can't just be and run the economy. We got to get a part of it back. We 13% of the population, and we are the biggest consumer in Wall Street. The government don't care about innocence or guilt. They care about convictions and ratings. Quit believing every time the government, FBI, prosecutors have a case that means that person guilty. Quit believing that shit. Look at the facts and listen to it all. The prosecutor side and the defense. Don't be one-sided because that can be to your own detriment. I hope you guys enjoyed Spittin Fire's network connection and the truth. Make sure you practice cultural obligation. Never think at the surface level, ever. Because this here is why our men are under attack. Until next time, fire out.